Welcome back to Famous People English Stories audiobook in minutes. Okay, let me ask you something. What if the only thing standing between you and a truly incredible tomorrow morning was just 8 simple sentences? Today, we're going to unlock a really powerful tool to reprogram your mind and completely change your mood, all based on the amazing work of Mel Robbins. Be honest with me for a second. When your alarm goes off, what's that very first feeling you have? Is it dread? Do you immediately start running through your to-do list, worrying about work, or maybe replaying something that happened yesterday? If you're nodding along, you are definitely not alone. It feels like our brains are just hardwired to scan for disaster, right? But here's the thing. That wiring can be changed. This quote right here from Mel Robbins, it reveals a fundamental truth about how our minds work. See, your brain doesn't really care where its programming comes from. It just runs whatever code it's given. So if you aren't intentionally writing positive code for yourself, your brain is going to get programmed by default, by the news, by social media, by past failures, and especially by that little critical voice inside your head. So what is this default program we're talking about? Well, for a lot of us, it's kind of a messy cocktail of old anxieties, past hurts, and future worries that leaves us constantly bracing for impact. Over years and years, we've unintentionally trained our brains to just default to a negative state. It's time to interrupt that pattern. You know, the best way to explain this is with a classic principle from computer science. Garbage in, garbage out. It's that simple. Think of your brain as the hardware, the machine itself. The thoughts you feed it, that's the software. So if you're on a steady diet of worry and self-doubt and negativity, well, the output is inevitably going to be an anxious, pessimistic mindset. But here is the powerful, wonderful truth. You are not stuck with that old software. You can become the programmer. You can intentionally decide what code your brain runs the moment you wake up and start overwriting that negative default. So, what's the tool for this big mental rewrite? It's not some complex meditation practice or hours of journaling. Nope. It's 8 powerful, meaningful sentences. That is it. Sentences you can say to yourself out loud, if you can, the very moment you wake up. All right, let's get to the code itself. These 8 sentences, they're easiest to remember if we break them into 3 simple themes. First, cultivating positivity, then building resilience, and finally, embracing growth. We're going to go through them by theme, so focus on the ideas, not just the numbers. The first 2 sentences are all about setting a powerful intention for your day. Saying today is going to be a great day isn't about ignoring that challenges might pop up. It's about choosing your attitude right from the start. And then adding something cool is going to happen for me today, well, that just transforms your day from a list of chores into a potential adventure. Okay, next up, we focus on building resilience. Now, you'll notice we're actually using sentences 3, 5, and 6 here because they really work together as this core of self-compassion. The third sentence, no matter what happens today, I can handle it, is like a direct antidote to anxiety. Then sentences 5 and 6 give you permission to acknowledge your effort and to not be perfect. It's this incredibly freeing combination that just silences that inner critic. And finally, we bring it all home by embracing growth and purpose. This is where we pick up the sentences we skipped, 4, 7, and 8. Sentence number 4, an exciting new chapter in my life is starting today. Signals a fresh start every single morning. We pair that with number 7, this belief that if I keep showing up, life will reward me, which builds that mental stamina you need. And we cement it all with number 8, I have an important contribution to make, which affirms your unique value. Now, this all sounds great, right? But why does saying a few sentences to yourself in the morning actually work? This isn't just wishful thinking. There's some really fascinating brain science at play here. So let's look at the mechanism inside your head that makes this whole thing so effective. I want you to meet your brain's personal bouncer, the reticular activating system, or RAS for short. Think of it like a filter or a gatekeeper that stands between the billions of bits of information flying around you and your conscious mind. Its job is to decide what's important enough to let through the velvet rope. Let me give you a perfect real-world example of how this works. Imagine you suddenly get interested in buying, I don't know, a green pickup truck. You've probably never really noticed them before, right? And then, the second you decide that green trucks are important to you, you start seeing them on every single corner. Were there suddenly more green trucks on the road? No, they were always there. Your RAS was just filtering them out. By focusing on them, you told your brain's bouncer, hey, this is important, and it changed the guest list to let them in. So what usually gets through this filter? Well, your name, for one, any threats to your safety, for sure. But here's the kicker. It also lets in anything you repeatedly tell your brain is important. When you say, today is going to be a great day every morning, you are literally programming your RAS to scan your entire environment and allowing the evidence that proves it's true. So the big takeaway here is that you can actually upgrade your own mental operating system. You can consciously choose to make positivity and resilience and a growth mindset your new factory default setting. I absolutely love this quote because it reframes everything. A good attitude isn't some personality trait you're just born with. It's not luck. It is a skill. And just like any other skill, you can get better at it with intentional, consistent practice. These 8 sentences, they're your daily training session. So how long does it take to train this new skill? Well, research suggests that the sweet spot for building a new neural pathway, for really wiring this in, is somewhere between 30 and 60 days of consistent practice. Think about that. Just 1 month to start overwriting years of negative programming and installing a new, empowered mental habit. And that's really the question this all comes down to, isn't it? You are the programmer. Your brain is sitting there ready for instructions. Starting tomorrow morning, you have the code to change your entire day. So, what will you tell it?